Hello, this video is to answer the question for your interview process in regard to the most painful deal I have lost in the last 3 years, the root cause, and then what changed in the process afterwards. So I can tell you that one of the most painful deals that I have lost was during my tenure as the vice president of growth for the company about 3 years ago when this particular situation happened. And during that time, I was launching the franchise program for the US. The company did not have any history or experience launching franchisees and in the US, just abroad. And secondly, I was also leading the partnership model, which is a completely brand new way of expanding asset-light network in the US and abroad. So two very significant launches to expand the network and the worth of the company. And one of the things I learned early on, that because of the value of the investment and learning the industry from scratch in order to be a franchise operator, is that it was very significant to find and secure the interest of a large multi-location operator and investor instead of onesie and twosies, people that would just open one or two locations. That just did not have the value for the company in terms of onboarding them and training them properly, or it didn't have the right value for those investors either. So through my networking and through attending franchise trade shows, I was able to secure the interest of a very prominent investor. He's actually an international franchise investor and operator, extremely solid operator, and operates something north of 60 locations in the fast food industry, and then several hundred in other brands. So very established, excellent operator, turns around and launches new location with his team very successfully. And so I was very pleased that through multiple conversations, multiple negotiations, we were able to secure his and his partner's interest to expand into this brand new industry for them. He understood the value of it. He understood the trends of the flexible office space and how the whole world in commercial real estate was changing. And so we got to an agreement where he was going to sign and secure 12 locations in West Palm, Florida, which would have significantly expanded the company's presence in that area. And then for the investor, this would have been first entrance to the industry, and then he was planning from there to scale and eventually do several hundred locations around the US or maybe even abroad. Okay, so the exciting thing was getting his interest. However, because this was such a new program and franchising, of course, is very highly regulated, so I needed to ensure that internally through the company we had all the proper levels of approvals and also proper paperwork and proper templates and everything to make this deal legal and also comfortable for both the terms and conditions for the investor and for us. And being a brand new product and program, it did take the executives and the people that were above me, and I needed their approvals. It took them longer. I had to stay very vocal, very persistent in securing meetings and presentations to secure those agreements. Finally, when we got all the approvals, then the due diligence piece of the different departments that had to produce the necessary paperwork, that took too long. So as you can imagine, the investor was getting antsy. And by the time we had everything ready in front of him to sign, by that time, he and his partner had already committed to put their money into a completely different venture that was ready to go faster. So it was extremely disappointing. The franchisee and myself, we are still have a great relationship. He understood that certain elements were beyond my control. But he also had to act fast in terms of what his team wanted to get engaged in, and then he couldn't absorb this other deal as well, in addition to what they had put their money into. So very disappointing. What actually changed in the process afterwards is that now that we had all the templates and paperwork and the proper workflow for the approvals, it actually presented a good template for future approvals to go much faster, and also the due diligence in the template that we were going to use. So this was sort of the guinea pig deal. I was very, very disappointed because he would have not only been a good investor, and this would have been a very juicy deal, as they say, 12 location deal with one signature, but also this particular individual would have been an excellent operator of our location, so which carries a lot of weight for the brand and the customer experience. But needless to say, it was disappointing to lose it at that particular time, and certainly the lessons were learned within the organization, not to be repeated again. Thank you.